I know what 3 a.m. looks like for you. You wake up, heart hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. You stare at the ceiling fan, watching it spin, and you do the math. You calculate how much money you have, then you calculate how many years you have left to work. Then you calculate the cost of rent and food and medicine in 20 years. And the numbers don't touch. They don't even come close. That cold feeling in your stomach, that isn't just stress. That is grief. You are grieving the life you thought you were going to have. You feel exposed. You feel foolish. And mostly, you feel like it is too late. I need you to listen to me very carefully. The math on the ceiling is wrong. You are judging yourself against a game you can no longer win, instead of playing the game that is actually still open to you. The window for getting rich without trying is closed. That ship sailed. But the window for being safe, the window for dignity, that is wide open. So today, we are going to fix this. By the end of this video, you will have a specific 3-step plan to go from 0 assets today to total solvency in 15 years. We are not trying to get rich, we are trying to get safe. And we can do that. Let's get to work. First, I want to clear the air. There's a reason you feel paralyzed. It's because you've been trying to follow advice that wasn't built for you. If you go to a standard financial advisor or read a blog post about retirement, they will tell you the golden rule: save 10% of your income. That is excellent advice if you are 25 years old. If you are 25, you have 40 years for compound interest to do the heavy lifting. Time is your lever. You put in $1, you wait 40 years, it turns into $20. Magic. But you are 50. You do not have 40 years. You have 15, maybe 20 if you've got good knees. Think of your career like a runway. At 25, you have a long runway. You can throttle up slowly, coast for a while, and still take off. At 50, your runway is short. The pavement is running out. To get this plane off the ground before the road ends, you cannot coast. You need maximum thrust. When you apply long runway advice to a short runway life, the math returns a result that looks like failure. You plug the numbers into a retirement calculator, it says you need $2 million. You look at your checking account, which has $12 in it, and you give up. That is not your failure. That is a failure of the model. The accumulation model, the idea of slowly filling a bucket over decades, is dead for us. We cannot passive invest our way out of this hole. We need a different mechanic. We need to stop acting like investors and start acting like sprinters. Okay, we are done with the feelings now. No more shame, no more looking back at the mistakes of 1999 or the divorce of 2010. The rearview mirror is broken. We are only looking out the windshield. From this second forward, we are talking tactics. Okay. So, to make sure we're on the same page, let's talk about the physics of catching up. I want you to imagine you are trying to fill a swimming pool. The standard advice tells you to use a garden hose. That's your 10% savings rate. It works great if you leave the hose running for 3 days. But you don't have 3 days. You have 3 hours. If you stick with the garden hose, the pool will be empty when the party starts. That is the math you were doing on the ceiling at 3 a.m. To fill that pool in 3 hours, you cannot use a garden hose. You need a fire hose. And here is the secret that the industry doesn't tell you. You actually have access to a fire hose. It is called the savings rate lever. Most people think the only variable that matters is return on investment. They obsess over whether the stock market does 7% or 8%. At 50, the market return barely matters compared to your savings rate. All right, follow me here. Here is the napkin math. If you save 10% of your income, it takes you 9 years of work to buy enough money to buy 1 year of freedom. 9 years for 1 year. That is a bad trade for us. We will die at our desks. But if you can save 50% of your income, it takes you 1 year of work to buy 1 year of freedom. That is the fire hose. Now, I can hear you screaming at the screen, "Frank, save 50%? I'm barely surviving on 100%. I know, I didn't say it was easy. I said it was possible, and more importantly, it is the only mathematical path that works in a short time frame. We are trading consumption today for safety tomorrow. It's called the 15-year sprint. And listen, if you want a guide for this sprint, if you want honest, no-nonsense breakdowns every single week, hit that subscribe button right now. We are going to be running this race together, and I don't want you to miss a step. Okay, are you subscribed? Good. Let's get to the roadmap. This is the roadmap. 3 steps. Linear order. Do not skip to step 3. Ready? Here we go. Step 1. Stop the bleeding. Radical debt elimination. You cannot run a sprint with an anchor tied to your waist. If you have consumer debt, credit cards, car payments, personal loans, you are mathematically insolvent. You are paying 20% interest to a bank while trying to earn 7% in the market. You are shoveling money into a furnace. Step 1 is not investing. Step 1 is debt death. I want you to look at your life and find the fake assets. A fake asset is something you own that makes you look middle class but keeps you poor. The biggest culprit? The car. If you're driving a $30,000 car with a $500 payment and you have 0 retirement savings, you are driving your retirement. You are driving your dignity down the highway and watching it depreciate. Sell the car. Buy a beater. I can hear you say, "But Frank, I need a reliable car for work." Get a reliable $8,000 Honda. You do not need the heated seats. You need the cash flow. Every single dollar that leaves your house for debt service is a soldier that is defected to the enemy. Bring them home. Pete the Planner, a smart guy in this space, says that eliminating debt is the prerequisite to the 50-year-old comeback. Why? Because when you have no debt, your cost of living collapses. When your cost of living collapses, you don't need $2 million to retire. You might only need $600,000. We lower the water level in the pool so it's easier to fill. Okay, on to step 2, the sprint, the 50% target. Once the debt is gone, we enter the sprint. This is where we get radical. The goal is to hit the federal limits for tax-advantaged accounts. Now, listen closely because the numbers have changed for 2026. For 2026, the IRS lets you put $24,500 into a 401k. Because you are over 50, you get a catch-up contribution. That has increased to $8,000. That is $32,500 a year funneling into your workplace plan. Then, separate from work, you open a personal IRA. The limit there has risen to $8,600 for those over 50. We're talking about funneling over $41,000 a year into tax-advantaged accounts. Now, a warning for high earners. If you make over $150,000, the IRS may require that extra catch-up money to go into a Roth account. You pay taxes on that specific slice now, but it grows tax-free forever. For the rest of us, we want the tax break today, so we have more cash to fuel the sprint right now. If you're in that bracket, call your CPA. That's a high-class problem to have. But let's come back down to earth. I know what the rest of you are thinking. Frank, I make $80,000 a year. You want me to save half of that? Yes. This is the binary choice. This is where the rubber meets the road. If you live on 100% of your income now, you will have 0% of your income later. To save 50%, you cannot live a normal middle-class life. You might need to have a roommate. You might need to move to a smaller apartment. You might have to get a side hustle. You might need to stop eating out all the time. It sounds grim, but frame it differently. You are not depriving yourself. You are buying your life back. You are enduring 15 years of college student living to avoid 20 years of elderly poverty. That is the trade. And here is the beauty of the sprint. It ends. You're 50. You do this until you're 65. Hard, aggressive, focused saving. Then you stop. You don't have to live like a monk forever, just for the sprint. Now, that brings to step 3, the target, dignified safety versus wealth. Now, let's look at the finish line. What are we sprinting toward? Standard advice tells you to aim for wealth. They want you to have a yacht and a vacation home. Forget that. We're aiming for dignified safety. What is dignified safety? It's a math equation. Social Security plus paid-off housing equals survival. Your savings equal dignity. Let's break that down. First, Social Security. It's fashionable to say it won't be there. It will be there. It might be reduced, but it won't be zero. The average check is around $2,000 a month in 2026 dollars. If you're renting an apartment for $1,800, that check is gone. You're eating cat food. But if you spend this 15-year sprint paying off a small condo or a tiny home or a piece of land, if your mortgage is zero, then that $2,000 Social Security check covers your food, your lights, and your basics. You are safe, you're warm, you are fed. So what are the savings for? The savings, that nest egg you built during the sprint, is for the Elder Index. The University of Massachusetts Warren maintains something called the Elder Index. It measures the actual cost of aging in place, healthcare, transportation, a leaky roof. If you have $500,000 saved, which is absolutely possible if you max out those accounts for 15 years and get a decent market return, that money generates about $20,000 a year in safe withdrawal income. $24,000 from Social Security, $20,000 from your portfolio, no mortgage. That's $44,000 a year of disposable income with a paid-off roof over your head. That is not poverty. That's comfortable. That's trips to see the grandkids, that's good coffee, that's sleeping at night. That is dignified safety. Now, I can feel the resistance. I can hear the objection forming in your throat. Frank, I literally cannot save 50%. I have kids, I have medical bills, I make $45,000 a year. The math doesn't work. I hear you, and I'm not going to gaslight you and tell you to just hustle harder. If the math truly doesn't work on the expense side, if you have cut every single thing and you are still at zero, then you have to attack the income side. And at 50, that's terrifying. Ageism is real. The marketplace is hostile. But remember the runway concept. If the runway is short, you need more thrust. You might need a second job. You might need to consult in your field on the side. You might need to rent out a bedroom in your house. It's unfair. It sucks. You shouldn't have to work 60 hours a week at 55 just to survive. But sadly, the market doesn't care about fair. The market only cares about solvent. Choose your pain, the pain of discipline today or the pain of regret tomorrow. I know I threw a lot at you. I know this feels like climbing Everest in flip-flops, but I want you to go back to that 3 a.m. ceiling. The reason you were scared is because you didn't have a plan. You were staring into a void. Now you have a plan. Kill the debt. Sprint for 15 years. Secure housing. It's a hard road, but it's a road, and a road is better than a void. Now, you might be asking yourself, Frank, how did it get this bad? Why is everyone my age broke? It's not just you. There's a specific economic reason why Gen X was left behind. I break it all down in this video right here, the Gen X retirement crisis. It explains exactly why the deck was stacked and how we unstack it. Click right here. I'll see you there.